All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome once again to our BIM 360 workflow series, session 4. Today we're going to focus on BIM 360 model coordination. My name is Jasenia. I am the event coordinator here at Microdesk. So before we get started, just a little housekeeping. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not in the chat panel. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple days. You're going to receive an email with a link when it's available. And before we jump in, I just want to introduce Microdesk to you all. So Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission: to assist architecture, engineering, construction, owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 years later, and that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and at all stages. Some of the hottest, sorry about that. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that the U.S. builds 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure you're prepared to meet those demands. We use softwares from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry expert consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies. Whether it's streamlining their design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full-service consulting. This includes BIM and CIM content development, priority support, asset management, CIO advisory, and much, much more. We partner with industry leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. Now, Peter, I'll let you jump on and take us through today's webinar. Thank you.
I'm muted now. So thank you very much, Jasenia. So leading the presentation is going to be myself today. I'm the Senior Technology Evangelist at Microdesk. My background is I worked as an architect for about 10 years and then moved over into consulting. I've been working with Revit since, I think it was 7.1 or 6.1, long time. My focus is on emerging technologies, BIM 360, working out what the appropriate workflows are for tools, figuring out how far you can bend them before they break, and making sure that our clients are leading where they want to be leading and comfortable where they're comfortable. So just trying to make sure everybody can differentiate themselves and is not doing anything that's going to cause them problems as time moves on. Oop, there we go. Perfect. So today's session, we're going to be going over the BIM 360 model coordination. So BIM 360 Coordinate is a specific package within the different BIM 360 services. We're going to go over what that is, what's included in it, and how you can take advantage of that. As Jasenia mentioned, Q&A is at the end, but I'll be keeping an eye on the question and answer window throughout the presentation. If anybody has any questions while I'm going through things, please drop it in there. If I can answer it while I'm going through it, perfect, I'll take care of it. If it's something that I feel doesn't quite fit in with what I'm talking about at the moment, I'll make sure I touch on that near the end. Before we get rolling though, I do have a couple of questions that I always like to ask the audience. So first one is, what is your role? So always get to know, am I presenting this to someone who's like an end user? Am I talking to a BIM manager who wants to know what features are available and the tools they're looking to utilize or implement, by talking to a principal who's trying to find out what tools are available for their company, things like that. All right. Okay. So next one, are you currently using BIM 360? So I know BIM 360 has been around for quite a while, but not in its current iteration. So we probably have some people here that have used it in the past but currently aren't. So in that terms, maybe they're used to the classic services like glue or field, as opposed to model coordination and the the newer features in the build package. And we have some people who haven't used it yet, so a lot of this should hopefully be new. Okay. And then last one, are you currently using any cloud or mobile tools? So like being able to go out into the field and use something like Office 365 or Bluebeam Studio or BIM 360, any tools that will help you work from anywhere. I'm sure a lot more people are doing that these days than they had in the past. All right, wow, about almost 50-50. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your time. All right, so let's get rolling. So just a couple of things about what we're talking about. So we've created this BIM 360 workflow series as a way to not just do, one big broad brush overview of what BIM 360 is, but allows us to actually spend some time going over the different aspects of BIM 360. So the first one was when we went over the setup, how to actually start and create your site or hub. Then going over the project setup, we went over the document management services, which is the bulk of the sort of the backbone of the projects that you would work on. The model coordination is going to be today. Then we would have the build platform coming up next, and then mobile aspects and operations at the last part of this specific workflow series. Now, in terms of BIM 360, for those who aren't familiar with it, BIM 360 is one of the components of Autodesk's construction cloud. So think of that as the overall umbrella of their cloud services for construction and design. So you've got Building Connected, you've got Assemble, Plan Grid, and BIM 360. BIM 360 is the cloud platform, so it's not just any one tool. It actually has a lot of different components. Now, the component that we're talking about today is the BIM 360 Coordinate package. What's included in this is model coordination, and you can, in some respects, think of that as the next generation version of the old BIM 360 glue. When you get the Coordinate package, you get the document management and project home. That's, again, sort of the backbone of all the different components. But you also get the classic glue. You get BIM 360 layout, which allows you to coordinate points in the real world with points in the virtual world. So if you're trying to make sure that your anchor bolts are in the right location, that your holes that you're punching for piping and everything else are in the right location, that tool can help with that. And you also get Navisworks and APL with packages of 25 seats or more. Now, the main portion of this today is going to be on the new version, the model coordination. And it has a lot of features. Now, most people, when they think of BIM 360 Coordinate, they tend to focus on just the ability to clash, but it actually does a little bit more than that. And what really differentiates the model coordination from glue is how a lot of this is automated. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hop out of PowerPoint and right into the service, and we'll take a look at that. There we go. So where I am right now is in the project administration of my project that I've been using throughout the series. So I can see my members of this, and what I want to do is, because we're going to start using model coordination, I want to make sure that I actually have turned this on. So if I go to my services, and if you haven't been to this view in a while, you might notice that it looks very different. So now what I can do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say that what I want to work with is model coordination. So I'm going to say activate. Now, while this is activating, a couple of interesting things with this. Number one, I can now actually deactivate services that I'm no longer using, with the exception of document management. Yeah, that being sort of the backbone, that one is always going to be turned on. But another one is you also are able to have the classic and next-gen services turned on at the same time. So if I was using Glue for a few reasons and then I wanted to use some of the next-gen tools, in the past I would have to create a brand new project and then move content from one to the other. Now I can actually turn on both the classic and the next gen in the same project at the same time. So that helps out. And if you're wondering what this is, the assets tool is just brand new and recently released this week. I'll be talking about that when I talk about build on the next session. So I just turn on model coordination. Now what I need to do is make sure that me as an admin, I actually am using it so I can work on it and turn it on. So I'm going to go to my members page. There's my model coordination. And I'm going to say that me and the rest of the project team have access to it. Now, me turning it on and saying we have access to it is great, but I still have to do one more thing in the setup before I can actually utilize this. So I'm going to go back to services. Now that I've given myself access to it, now I can see that I've got model coordination over here, and I can access it and do my settings. So I go to my model coordination under the project admin, and what I need to do is create what's called a coordination space. So I'm going to hop into the document management for a second, and I'll explain what that means. So same project, now I'm in document management. Now, you might think of the entirety of BIM 360 as a coordination space, and you're not wrong with that idea, but in terms of this specific tool, what we need to do is determine a folder, a location that this service is going to monitor. So in this case, I have a couple of things. I've got a folder that I've designated as a coordination folder under plans. And in some respects, you might consider the shared folder here as a coordination space. So the reason why I might say the shared folder is if you're using BIM 360 design, every time one of these teams creates a package, the content of that package is then put inside of the shared folder. If I'm inviting people to BIM 360 that maybe are only going to be uploading and downloading, I might only invite them to a folder of theirs in the shared folder. So designating that as a coordination folder means that I'm going to be looking at that specific place for any new content. And if that content is of the right file format, meaning Revit, IFC, DWF, those file formats where it can actually do the model coordination, it'll start doing this for me on its own. So let me set this up, and then I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to create a coordination space, and I'm actually going to create two of these. So first one is say model coordination plans. So that way it designates and explains that it's focusing on the folder in the plans. So I'm going to select that coordination folder, and I'm basically saying I'm picking this folder and I'm calling the coordination space that uses it this, and I'll create that. And then once that's set up, I have the ability to deactivate that if I need. So now that that's set up, I can come over here. I'm going to go to my coordination folder. And what I want to actually do is upload something to that folder. So there we go. I come over here. I want to grab one of the files from my computer. And I'm going to take my mechanical systems file and move that in there. So this is now going to upload this model here. And this is in some respects one of the, I don't say the problems, but one of the issues that many users ran into when they were first using this. So right now I'm uploading this model into the plan section. And I just showed that when I'm working with BIM 360 Design, well, you're typically in the project files. The only way to get a file from project files into plans is literally to download it and then re-upload. So that caused some confusion for users and also wasn't the most smooth workflow. Now, it did have some benefits though. When I upload this model here, because it's going to the plan section, I can have one model that has designated views that were meant to be published. And you'll see once this finishes processing, what it's going to do is it's not going to show up as one file. It's going to show up as multiple. So I have my mechanical file, and it's going to show that mechanical file as the ductwork, the MEP, sorry, the ductwork, mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing. So it's going to split that out into three pieces, so I can actually coordinate those against each other. So even though it's one file, it won't treat it necessarily as that one element. Now, in order to make this, let's say, more usable and more user-friendly, what Autodesk has actually done recently is made it so that I can now create a model coordination space in the project files. So this is a recent update. So I'm going to say shared coordination. So this is basically turning that shared folder and all the content that's currently in there into another coordination space. So I can use either or, it doesn't have to be one. And what we'll find is that many companies will have multiple coordination spaces to help organize and to focus on specific aspects or groups within their project. So I can come back over here. That upload is in the process still. Let's see if that just completed. Perfect. And that's thinking. Now, once I'm ready to see this, I can go to Model Coordination. And this is going to show me all the different files that are currently in there. Now, in this case, since I literally just turned this on, it might take a few minutes for it to go through. So in that case, I'm going to do the old baking show routine, and I'm going to hop to a project that already has this all turned on. So in this case, going to another project, same thing. I've got coordination models in both plans, and I've actually turned on coordination in the shared folder. Now, when you first go into model coordination, what you're going to see is your list of files that you're working with. So in this case, I've got an architectural file, structural file. I mentioned before the mechanical file. You notice that mechanical systems down here, these three views are from that file. So it's literally the exact same file, it's just separating out several views that are in there. Now, within this, I can tell that right now I'm looking at my model coordination space. I also have the ability to switch from one folder or one designated coordination space to the other one. So that way I can go back and forth depending on what groups of files, what organizations am I working with. So you can see right now, these are all the files that are inside of my shared folder. So I've got my civil view, topo view, site layouts, different things that I'm working with. Let me hop back over to this one, it's a little bit cleaner. Now, the first view here allows me to see all the files and technically views that are in there. I can sort by specific views. I can see the clashes. And that's what these numbers on the right are. Those are showing me all the clashes that are within those files. I can also filter this view so I can see based on specific users and uploads. Now, the meat of this that most people tend to focus on is going to be the clashes. Now, the clashes is a matrix view. Every single time I upload a new file into the folder that has been designated as a coordination folder, it will automatically rerun clashes of that against anything else that's in there. So this is completely hands-off, user-friendly, in that I don't have to do anything. I put the model in there, and then it runs, and then it tells me what's the result after running. So in this case, if I wanted to see the result of my plumbing versus structure, so I've got my plumbing file over here, come over here to my structure, and I have 41 clashes. In this case, I can click on this, and this will actually then open up those multiple files. So right now I'm looking at two different files, structure and plumbing. The initial view is going to show me all of the things that are clashing. So right now, if anything is sort of translucent or gray, I know there's not a clash with it. If it's gray and red, I know there is. From there, I can start clicking on individual pieces. And this makes it easy for me to actually see where my clashes are. So in this case, I've got a pipe running through one of the beams. And I can organize this and sort them by the actual information that's in the elements. So right now, my priority file is going to be my plumbing. And I can look at it by the object or the type name. So if I'm going to say that, you know what, let me use my structure as the primary. And I'm going to say the type is the first. And then I can move around and see where all my clashes are. So right now I've got that whole piece there. Now, if this is something that, you know, I'm looking at this and that definitely is a problem, I can check the box for these and I can create an issue right here. And that allows me to assign that issue to a specific person to make sure that it's handled. Now, if on the other hand, though, what I end up seeing is something more along the lines of a floor. So we're not going to show the cores in the model maybe. So we're just going to have the pipes run through it. In this case, these clashes might not be an issue. So I would check the box and say not an issue. And then it's no longer going to be concerning itself with those specific interferences. So I have the ability to say, no, this isn't a problem, don't worry about it. or yes, this is a problem, and then assign it to people. Once I've created those issues, I can then track them here and see where we are with things. Have they been assigned? Are they being handled? Are they overdue? But this allows me to go in and start tracking these problems and making sure that things are taken care of. So from this view here, I've got my clashes. I can see how many are active, how many have been assigned to people to be handled, and how many are actually closed. So it makes it very easy for me to actually track the issues, find the issues, track the issues, and then sort them. Now, the views portion of this is something that tends to cause a little bit of confusion. So essentially what a view is if I'm looking at a couple of files and I want to be able to jump back to that view, it's not a saved view in the sense that you can save exactly what you're looking at, like with Navis or Glue, where I want to have a section cut here, I want to turn 3 things off. What you're really doing is you're saving the state of looking at multiple models. So you're kind of gluing them together, if you're familiar with the old version of Glue, or just combining the files in Navis. Now, an example of that would be this. I have my models, and I have a handful of files. And what I'd like to do is literally put more than just 2 together, like I normally get with my clashes. So I want to say I want to look at my electrical, my plumbing, and the structure. And actually, yeah, give me the mechanical too. And then I just say view. So in this case, it's going to compile all of those together as opposed to just the 2 clashing ones. I can see the information about those. And I can treat this as any other normal view. I can zoom in, I can get measurements. I can do that section cut if I want to make it easier to see in certain areas. Manage this. And if this is the kind of view where it's like, you know what, I'm going to want to look at this a lot. I'm going to need to be able to see these main aspects of my project so I can review them at any point in time. In those cases, I say save. And then this is actually set up very much like a markup in that I can choose, is this a view for me, or is this a view that I'm going to let the rest of the team have access to? So I'll say published, in which case anybody on the project will have access to this, or I should say anybody on the project with the permissions to both model coordinate and to this folder will have access to this. And now next time I'm actually working here, I can go to views, and there's that view that I just created. All I have to do is click on that and it'll take me right in there. Now, the features of model coordination, right now all of the controls are really almost preset. And if you've ever used the classic Glue, a lot of this is going to be familiar, meaning that when I put a file in here, so you've got your structural, or I've got the specific views that I've chosen to sort of split out, all of that work is pre-done inside of Revit. So at the moment, I can't say I only want you to focus on certain aspects. What I have to do is go into Revit. So let's say I go into a project here. So my project files, I'm going to hop into the MEP one. And what I need to do is say, okay, well, how do I want to do my coordination? I can't do a search set. I can't sort and filter the model in BIM 360 yet. So I need to make sure that I'm generating the views that I want to utilize for the clash detection back in the authoring tool. So in that case, I want to say, okay, if I'm filtering out and saying I only care about pipes that are larger than 4 inches, I want to have things broken out by the floor. What I need to do is make sure that those views are actually created. So that way, when I come in here, I have the specific views pre-made. I port those to the cloud. So in this case, I've got my coordination views. This is showing me everything. What I really probably want to do is just have certain views where it's focusing on maybe just the mechanical, another view that just focuses on the plumbing, maybe only the process plumbing or plumbing lines larger than 4 inches. I'm creating those filters here. And then what I want to make sure I'm doing is going to my publish settings and ensuring that those specific 3D views are checked, meaning I want those views shared so that way when it goes into the cloud, it is actually going to utilize those and have them available for this kind of coordination. So that's how I would make sure that the views that I want to work with are going to be available in the cloud. And then once I do get to the cloud, and open up the correct window, there we go. And let's take a look and see if this is finished. I'm still thinking a little bit. No, there we are. So once I do get to the cloud, I'll have these views available for me to run my clashes on, to work off of, and to solve my problems. So once I've run through this, I create the clash results, I create my issues. Those issues essentially create my clash report, and then I can start moving on. Couple of good questions. First one here is to download a model from BIM 360 and upload to model coordination. How do I fully detach it from central, or is that necessary? It's actually not necessary. So I'm gonna hop over here to the document management, hop into this project. So let's say I'm working here. What I wanna do is take the current state of the project and bring it over to the plan section, for example. Let's say that that's what I'm trying to do. So you've always got the option of being inside of Revit and then doing a file save as, but that is a little bit clunky in terms of what I want to do. If what I want though is I just want to take the latest published version. So if I come over here, I can see published latest. If I want the absolutely latest saved file and I don't want to publish it or update to latest, then I would do a file save as. But otherwise, if I'm fine with taking the latest model that is visible online, all I have to do is come up here and say, download the actual source file. Now, the great thing about this is that if all of my models are all if all of my models are using cloud work sharing, then I only have to download one of these. What I mean by that is if I go into my downloads folder here. So this folder here came from downloading the architectural file. So that brings me, the name of the file .zip. When you open that up, it actually includes all of the other files that are linked into it. So I just download one file, quote unquote, but it brings down all the other linked elements as long as they are cloud work shared. If I have models that were just sort of uploaded or dragged and dropped, they're not cloud work shared, they're just sharing using the cloud, then I would download those manually and then re-upload them. So it's still a download and then re-upload to move the file from project files to plans. But if I'm going to take advantage of using a plans folder, like I want to use the shared folder here, then that's not necessary. I just say, look at that, and then whenever anybody on the project says that they're going to actually create a new package, that package puts the update into the shared folder, and that will automatically update the clash results. Another question, are those previous sessions available? Yes, all of the sessions that we've done to this point are all recorded. They're all available on our YouTube channel. And as Jacinia mentioned, this session, once it's complete, will be uploaded to our YouTube channel probably within a day or two. Now, anytime, Kev. So other things with BIM 360 model coordination is, again, at the moment, I can't create sort of filters inside of this for do clash these elements, but not those. Those kind of things are in the process of coming, though. They are on the roadmap from Autodesk. The ability to see issues that are created here in the authoring tool, like going back to Revit and seeing them, those are also on the roadmap and should be coming shortly. Autodesk has been showing those off on some of their what's new in next sessions. But at the moment, this is where things are. Other aspects of BIM 360 model coordination that are coming on the roadmap is the ability to connect Navisworks to BIM 360 Next Gen, so the document management side. You could open up files that are stored in document management via the desktop connector, but there's a few things in that you have to be careful about with regards to it updating all of the subfiles. But again, that also should be coming in a very near update. All right. Any questions, please feel free to drop those in there. Definitely be happy to answer anything that comes out. And while people are writing that, I'm just going to go over a couple of quick things. So as I mentioned, this session is happening today. The other previous sessions are all available on demand on our YouTube channel. The next session is going to be on BIM 360 Build. So that's the whole build package. That actually has a lot of sub aspects. So there's the RFIs and submittals, there's the meeting minutes, there's the brand new asset tools, as well as all the checklists and functions. So we'll be talking about those and how to set that up and utilize it. The one after that, we're going to be talking about the mobile applications, and I'll be showing how it works on Android as well as iOS. And then finally, as part of this series, we'll be touching on the operations aspect. Thank you, Kevin. Another question here is related to Navisworks. Is it possible for a user to see the clash results from BIM 360 model coordination in Navis and vice versa? At the moment, no, but again, that is one of those features that is on the roadmap. I don't know if it's going to be coming in the next 1 or 2 updates, but I know it should be coming relatively soonish. Any other questions? Okay. Haven't seen anything else come in yet, but we have a couple of upcoming events. The next one that we're working with, we're joining Autodesk. One of their users is going to be going over some of the advanced topics for BIM 360 design for Revit, going over some of the different workflows and aspects of that. That's going to be on the 23rd of June at 6 p.m. GMT time. The next session of this is happening on, again, July 2nd, where we're going to be going over the BIM 360 build package. All right. If anybody does have any questions, once we finish this, you realize, oh, I meant to ask that. Definitely feel free to reach out to us. We'd be glad to answer any questions. If you have feedback for future sessions saying, you know what, I really like this, but I also think it would be great if you did a presentation on this or talked about that, let us know. We love that kind of feedback. We want to make sure that we are going over information that our clients or our friends online are looking for. So thank you very much for your time. We definitely appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of the day. And cheers. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.